Good morning, my name is Filippo Galletti and I am a member of the University of Bologna Research Group in the European-funded project titled History Lab for European Civic Engagement. And I'm going to develop this teaching module called Active Learning Methodologies. As introduction, we can say that a transmissive educational model has limitations both on the level of discipline-specific didactics and with regard to cognitive and relational processes. As far as disciplines are concerned, in the frontal lecture there is a risk, if it is the only mode adopted in transferring content, of flattening the teaching method, with the prevalent use of words, narration, and description, through a simplified mediation of knowledge where there is little or no room for practice and action, that is, the construction of historical knowledge. In fact, the frontal lesson on the level of cognitive processes insists primarily on memorization and reproduction of content through listening activities, study and exercises to store often uncritically information and concept. From the observation that the transmissive method is a rigid model, little inclined to student attention and levels of personalization and, ultimately, results in disappointing outcomes, low interest, labil and mnemonic knowledge, and low formative capacity, comes the need to pursue educational paths that aim at involvement and experimentation, arousing curiosity and creativity, commitment and active assumption to make each subject the protagonist of his or her own education. Through constructive learning methodologies, it is possible to promote active learning, which aims not only at the acquisition of knowledge, but also in the mastery of skills and abilities that allow them to be increased and renewed, which in the context of teaching and learning history means opening new paths toward research and investigation, discovering, questioning and interpreting sources, and thus soliciting motivation and interest in the past, present and future. In order, therefore, to propose active learning methodologies in teaching activities, it would be appropriate for certain elements closely related to each other to be present in the design phase. Motivation, interdisciplinarity, and school territory alliance. We can also see these features through the example provided by the teaching activity Ire per Agros, Journeys of Faith and Culture in the Middle Ages, the pilgrimage, pertaining to the topic Travels and Travelers, Economic, Social and Cultural Connection of the European project History Lab. Motivational impulses should be pursued in both methods and contents of the educational curriculum, constituting a constant through the use of activities capable and stimulating student involvement and participation. To achieve this goal, references can be made to the fact that each of us is a subject and a possible protagonist of history, and that the personal and collective events in which we are a participant do not begin at all with lived existence, but well before, triggering the excitement of being heirs and protagonists of history. Identify poles of interest or socially vivid themes through observation of current events and links with issues and historical periods to be addressed or dealt with. Make use of laboratory and cooperative learning approaches and methods, meaning by laboratory a behavioral and methodological environment in which every knowledge achievement is the result of both shared and individual work, producing and exhibiting to the community writings and materials drawn from research to disseminate the outcomes of educational projects and give further rewarding goals to its protagonist. Investigating the surrounding reality and current events to grasp their distinctive and identify features and ongoing phenomena and to affect them positively from an active citizenship perspective, make use of ECTs and digital resources, while being aware that the good use of educational technologies depends more on the creativity of the teacher than on the application itself, and that therefore the learning process will always depend on the objectives and the methodologies pursued by the teacher. In this regard, in the educational activity Ire Peragros, Journeys of Faith and Culture in the Middle Ages, the pilgrimage, the main objective was the construction of an urban trekking guide, which on the basis of the ancient itineraries knows how to enhance the places of cultural and local heritage. To achieve this goal, it was planned to work in different phases, individually, in small groups and large groups, through a workshop and cooperative approach. For example, in phase number 2, the intention is to work with sources in order to analyze pilgrimage diaries, and in the phase number 4, the focus shifts to local history in order to identify new routes and to enhance the historical and cultural as well as environmental heritage of their own city reality. Digital resources are employed also in phase number 3, where it is required to create an interactive map with sources from the medieval period. Finally, the outcome of the activity will allow the creation of a guidebook that will be presented into the municipal institutions and citizens, promoting the routes identified and proposed for the enhancement of historical and cultural heritage. Also, guided tours on weekends are proposed. Since the goal of the school is to form the student as a citizen, the need to develop an interdisciplinary dimension arises from the need, first and foremost, to bring the educational institution closer to the life, complexity and interconnectedness of human phenomena that, today more than ever, find evidences in globalization, in the internationalization of economic and trade exchanges, in the impressive migratory phenomena, in politics and in so many other areas. History, in this sense, exerts an integrative background of relevant educational value, capable of projecting the specific contributions of cultural heritage into broader horizons and making use of the most up-to-date tools of communication. In this perspective, it becomes an opportunity for the acquisitions and productions of knowledge. It demands an interdisciplinary comparison and interweaving through the confluence of knowledge and the adoption of teaching methods and paths tested in various disciplines. It implies a systematic use of all communication tools and in particular of technologies and multimedia supports. An interdisciplinary approach in teaching, therefore, represents an indispensable value in fostering in students the development of critical skills, comparison and interconnection of knowledge, promoting in the classroom an alliance between the interdisciplinary dimension and an intercultural perspective, which brings out to the historical cultural relations between different historical times and geographic spaces near and far. In the teaching activity Ire Peragros, Journeys of Faith and Culture in the Middle Ages, the pilgrimage, interdisciplinarity is sought and pursued through dialogue with other disciplines, such as geography, civic education, computer science, religion, and Italian. The school should be also interconnected in the community, allowing young people the opportunity to experience the responsibility and pluralism that arises from democratic participation on the ground. At the same time, the community itself should also champion educational initiatives. In this way, it is possible to establish a true School Community Alliance, where various cultural agencies in the area, both public and private, such as museums, associations, archives, libraries, as well as municipal governments, are actively involved. The creation of a network of actors who care about the growth of students at all levels is important for at least two reasons. The first consists in the fact that the educating community is able to merge the explicit and intentional education that is done at school with the implicit education that is known from attending one's territory. The involvement of young people thus allows them to improve their skills of acting citizenship and democratic consciousness, acting on the community. The second reason is that territorial networks are able to create a context rich in opportunities for young people. Encouraging the creation of new educational communities through encounters with local realities and educational outings to museums, archives, or heritage elements thus becomes a key step in succeeding in promoting the education of young people and their participation in democratic life. In this context, service learning strategies can be used. It is an approach in which students can make the visits or work in groups and then carry out activities outside the school with social collectives, which may be of immigrants, migrants, refugees, women, the elderly, children, disabled persons, or others. It is a proposal that combines service, citizenship, solidarity, actions and volunteering for the community, and learning, the acquisition of professional, methodological, social, and especially educational skills, so that learners can develop their knowledge and skills through solidarity service to the community. In the teaching activity Ire per Agros, Journeys of Faith and Culture in the Middle Ages, the Pilgrimage, school and territory are in constant dialogue, since the participation of external agents, part of the world of non-formal education, is expected and encouraged. Finally, the project includes the production of a tourist guide that is presented at the city's municipal institutions, which promote its dissemination. In addition, the students themselves make themselves tourist guides of their city and organize guided tours aimed at the entire citizenship. Thank you very much.